All right, looks like we are live. Jonas Saul here. So good to see you all, however many are coming today. Got a haircut. Don't know if you can really tell from the last video, but I needed to, let me fix the light 1 second. I should have done this already. Yeah, maybe that'll be a bit better. All right. Yeah, so got a haircut. All right, so that has nothing to do with today's post, but thought I'd say it. Oh, and that ticking thing I do, I actually don't do that in real life. I think it's a nervous tick. But I'm not actually nervous. I'm not nervous. If I was to say that I'm nervous, it would be, hey, thanks, Carrie. It would be nervous that I would make a mistake because we're live. I don't want to swear. Now, I have a tendency to have a very bad mouth. I wouldn't say vocabulary because I'm a writer. I have a good vocabulary, I think. But I have a very bad mouth. I love to swear. So I really have to watch myself on these videos. So I think I'm nervous that I might overstep, say something wrong. I might offend someone. I might say a spoiler. So that's nervous. So if you do hear my tick, I'm sorry. I hate them when I look back at these videos. I don't hate much, though. I'm not very critical. I don't really care about things. I mean, I care. I love the readers. I love what I'm doing, but I don't really care how I look or how I sound. It's me. I'm sure people will accept me. I'm not that critical about myself, but I don't like the tick. So I'll try and stop it today. Geez, I look a little psycho there for a second. I better have some coffee. Oh my goodness, the cup's the size of my head. Oh, that feels good. All right, so anyway, let's get started. I've got a free book to give away. I know the mirroring, I know, but I'll fix it another time. But anyway, I can't really get the book to flip. So I'm going to give this away today. I'll tell you now how. And I'm going to mail it to you. I'm going to sign it, throw in some business cards. And I'll tell you now, I really enjoy the Facebook Live. I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting in touch with the readers. I get to respond to every comment after I like them. Thank you, Casey or Cassie. I appreciate it. So anyway, I love doing this. I would like to do this a lot. And book release, Facebook Lives, events, traveling, whatever we're going to do. I don't know. So this week, I don't know if I want to do it once a month. I want to do it every 2 weeks. I want to do it every week. I'd like to do it every week. But am I that interesting? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to overstay my welcome. So here's my thoughts. To win this book, you got to tell me. Message me. I'm going to give it a couple days, maybe a week. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. I haven't even thought about that part yet. But message me on Facebook and tell me, hi, Lori, tell me what I should do on Facebook Live. Now, I came up with this, let's talk about secrets about Sarah last time, and came up with a few other things. And then this one I've come up with, I've got a bunch of questions here. I'm going to answer them shortly. But what would you want to see? What do you think an author should be doing on Facebook Live? Because I want to talk about the readers. I want to talk about the story. I don't want to talk about me. I don't know if I'm that interesting. I mean, I think I'm interesting. I'm living my life. I'm having a good old time. Geez, I almost swore there. I said old instead of something else. See what I mean? I got to watch myself. That's where my nerves come in. I haven't heard any ticks, though. Anyway, doing all right. Okay, so I'm going to make myself laugh, and then I'm going to look really crazy. I need more coffee. So anyway, come up with something that I can do on Facebook Live. Give me a list. Somebody come to my messenger. Somebody go onto my wall and say, hey, do this. I'm going to find one that I really like. I'm going to find one that's unique. I'm going to find a bunch. Then I'm going to categorize. I'll put them on Facebook. Maybe get you guys to vote. I don't know. We're going to work it out. But somebody is going to come up with something. And it's going to be hot. And I'm going to love it. And I'm going to be like, oh my goodness, I love that idea. And I'm going to do it next week. Or the week after, whatever. And then I'm going to say to them, you have won a book. And I'm going to sign it and I'm going to mail it to them. All right? Coffee. All right, let's get to these questions. And then I've got a small little secret, too. I like secrets. I love secrets. You just don't keep them from your spouse. Unless they're a surprise. But anyway, I'm not here for advice. Don't take my advice. All right. First off, thank you for joining me today. I got a couple quick notes here to say. I will avoid spoilers. I'm going to do my best here to avoid them because we are going to talk about the series. I have questions about, hey, Nan, questions about the series. So I'm going to avoid spoilers. I'm going to speak in generalities to avoid them. Also, I want to go back a week and say, hey, thanks for the contest entries. Gift cards have all been sent and received. Of course, that happened right away. And the books were shipped out to the winners. So that's all done and exciting. I got a book here that I'm going to sign. I'm going to put bookmarks. No, I'm not going to put bookmarks. I'm going to put gift cards. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to overspeak myself. I'm going to put, what did I say? Business cards. Business cards in it. I'm going to sign it, and someone's going to win it. Tell me what to do on Facebook Live. You know what I'm saying, G? All right, I had to do that. Lastly, giveaway, got it. Okay, so let's get to some questions. Okay. Thanks, Grace. You know, hey, John. Hello, John. I can almost just sit here and read all those comments and speak to everybody. This is great. Maybe I'll do that next time. Okay, Suzanne Miles. Suzanne Miles said, how do you remain so humble? Well, Suzanne, appreciate the question. You're awesome. I have met you, and you're a fabulous writer. And how do I stay so humble? Oh, my goodness. Look, all I know is I am an author. I'm writing a book, and I put them out there, and I had some readers come by and pick them up and give me some good reviews, and I got excited. And I realized that readers are my life. Readers are my blood. And time for more coffee. Okay, Cassie. I love readers. And because of readers, the book sold. I mean, I sold almost over 2 million copies as an indie author, signed with an agent. And now we've got so many deals coming. So much, you guys, I can't even tell you all of it yet. There's over 5 things in the works that are major announcements. One of them is astronomical, every author's dream, but I can't say anything yet. So how do I stay humble? All I know is that you've got to stay grounded. You got to love your readers. And I mean, I just do. It's not even, I'm not playing. I mean, it's genuine concern, genuine care. I read every single review. I'm on Goodreads checking it out. I want to hear what the readers are saying. I just love them all. I don't know, how do I stay humble? It's just, I'm so grounded. So I'm just so grateful. You know what it is? Gratitude. Very grateful. There's a lot of questions. I'm going to move on. Stephen Lee, he said, how many books do you already have the outline for? Well, I don't write outlines. I don't create them. What I do is a couple paragraphs to jot down the idea. I want to have this. For instance, I've got a book I'm writing called Ruthless. I don't know if I've spoken of it much. Love you too, Tess. I have a book coming out. I have a book I'm going to write called Ruthless. It's husband-wife scenario, got a daughter. Her name is Ruth. She goes to a sleepover. And this, no spoilers here. This is just like you'd read the blurb. She goes to a sleepover, and she's supposed to be home by noon the next day. Noon comes, no daughter. Half hour later, 2 hours later, okay, where's Ruth? They pick up the phone, no answer at the house where Dad dropped her off last night. He gets in his car, heads over. The husband and wife who lived there and their daughter, who were going to play with Ruth, they're not there anymore. And there's a strange man standing at the door saying, I've lived here for years. Well, Dad just dropped him off last night, so where's Ruth? And he doesn't like that answer. Well, what they don't know is Dad is ex-military. Dad is an ex-military investigator, and Dad's pretty pissed off. Wants to know where his daughter is, and he kind of wants to know now. Turns out, the people that were living in that house were witness protection. They thought they were safe. Something happened last night, and they had to run. And they've taken Ruth with them to keep her safe. But Dad doesn't know that. And they don't know who Dad is, and no one knows who that family is in this house. Well, I happen to know all of these things, but I'm not going to tell you all those things quite yet. You'll need to read it. But Dad is now ruthless, so to speak, and the storm is to start. Now, there's no paranormal in this book. There's not. It's a straight-up thriller, and it's insane. Well, you know what? I can't believe what's happening in this book, but it's all in my head. I have one paragraph to say, hey, Dad drops off daughter, shows up, who's at the house? Oh, I put a little note, I know who it is. Who's watching the house? Who's the enforcer? Who's the victim? I've got it all. I even see them on their his trek across the country looking for his daughter, and what goes on and how it culminates into the end and so on. I got it all up here. It's okay. It's safe. So that's how I outline. How many books do I have in ahead? How many books do I have ahead? I'm usually 3 to 4 books ahead. Sometimes I've gone as far as 5, but I've got The Betrayal I'm working on, Sarah's Return, book 21, pretty well got most of that ready to go. Ruthless, got most of that ready to go. I've got a book I'd like to write one day called The Empath. I usually find a title first and build the story around the title. The Empath would be a massive challenge for me. I know what is involved in that book. So we're at 4 already. And I've got another couple standalones, and I've even got, Sarah's future from there. So, needless to say, I'm always at least 4 and going from there. Outline, like I said, I just don't. So, do you already know where Sarah and Parkman will be heading for the next 5 books? No. For the next 2 or 3, yes. I know where they're heading. And how far in advance does your mind work, was his other question from Stephen Lee. And I think I've summarized how far in advance my mind works. And I believe coffee's getting cold. And we're back. All right, Patty Adams, Melancon said, will you stay in contact with your fans no matter how famous you get? Oh my goodness, of course, Patty. I love you guys. Where would I be without you? I'd be writing stories and trying to get twisting an arm of a friend to read it or something. I'm always going to be in touch. I always love you guys, and that's what I want to do. I want to be here for a long time with you guys. Which books are you referring to for Your Immortal Gene? Which books are you referring to for Your Immortal Gene? Uma asked, and Marina's answered it. That's right. It is the book called The Snake. It has been renamed The Immortal Gene and is being published June 5th worldwide. So, back to the questions. Tess Burnside, let's get through these, and then maybe I'll answer some of these ones. Tess Burnside, what is Parkman's first name? The answer? I don't know. I have never given him a name. To me, I just did that tick. Okay, don't count. I'm not going to do the tick anymore. I'm really going to focus. That's a dumb tick. Okay. That was just me clearing my mouth. That wasn't a tick. All right, so what's Parkman's first name? No idea. I have never thought up a name for Parkman. I have always loved him as just Parkman. I have talked about it for a year or two. What would his name be? I entertained his name being Jonas. I thought that would be funny. I've entertained his name being a few other things. But I don't know his name. I just call him Parkman. But I'll tell you something. On his passport, hey, Teresa, on his passport, there is a name outside of Parkman. He does have another name. And it will, how about a contest name Parkman? That's a good idea, Vicky. Maybe we should do that. Maybe in a month or two soon. I don't know. I'm not comfortable yet with Parkman having a name, so I don't really know. But I don't know his name. So I'm open to it. He has to have one. And before the series ends at book 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, I don't know, he will have a name. But I don't know what it is right now. Do you have a plan a backstory for him? Not much. The story is more about Sarah and where she's headed. Parkman's been there for, well, since the warning, book 2, or part 2 of The Future is Written. And so I don't have much of a backstory for him. And more importantly, what is with the toothpick habit? I'll just call that originality. I'd like to keep it original. I want my characters to have what I call a character tag, a tick, something different, something unique. You'll notice that at times in several books, maybe 14, book 17, I don't remember which one off the top of my head, but the toothpick isn't mentioned as much. And then in another book, it'll be mentioned more. But Parkman has the toothpick issue, and we'll continue to have it. All right, next question. Lacey Faust said, when you have them share, will you post more pictures again that inspired scenes from your books? Yes, that's a question. So the answer is yes. I'll post more pictures. Lacey asked another one. Will you ever publish your Frankenstein versus Dracula story? I think kids would love to read that too. I wrote a short story called Frankenstein versus Dracula when I was a 10 or 11-year-old little boy. And I still have most of that story in my head, but I do not have a copy of that story anymore. I've lost it over the years. So I don't know. No, I'm not going to publish that book. I'm thriller, horror author, more thriller. I maybe like James Patterson or some of these other guys. Harlan Coben does young adult now. John Grisham did some young adult. Well, maybe I'll do a young adult. Maybe I'll do a kid's book one day. I don't know, but right now I'm really focused on Sarah, and so don't know if I'll be getting into that. Maybe I'll be into my 50s or 60s before I consider that stuff. Lastly, Lacey asked, is Aaron's character based off anyone particular in your life? So this isn't ego, but the answer is yes. That character, Aaron, is based on me. And the reason I say me is I took Shotokan karate just like Aaron. I wore a gi. I went to my dojo and I was trained in Shotokan karate. And so I based Aaron in book 5 when we meet him in The Victim. When Sarah ran into his dojo, I based his character on me. Not his features, his looks, his attitude so much so, but his life. Toronto, where I grew up. So Aaron is me. Fred just asked, quickly off topic, any more Jake Wood stories coming? Yes, of course. June 5th, The Immortal Gene comes out. That's Jake Wood. And book 2, that's another book, back to Stephen Lee's question. Book 2 to that, tentatively titled The Target, has been outlined in one paragraph. And I will be writing that, and I have the theme, and actually book 3 I have too. So you could say that I am 7 books ahead, not 4 and 5 like I said earlier. Geez. So anyway, yes, more Jake Wood's coming. Next question, Marina Diner. What made you switch or transition Sarah's automatic writing and her ability to hear and feel Vivian and then subsequently see other dead people, which end up blocking Vivian? Really the switch with Sarah and her relationship with Vivian was one of evolution. A character has to evolve. We all evolve. I'm a different man than I was when I was 30. I'm a different man than I was when I was 20. So we all have to evolve. Hey, Steve, been a long time since I've seen you. So anyway, Sarah's character has to evolve and grow. She's got to become a different woman. And I believe that, and anybody, if you've read all the way to book 15 or even to 19, you can tell me better than me, because I'm me. But you could tell me better. Have you noticed Sarah's evolution as a woman from Dark Visions when she was 18 and now she's 26? Has she grown into being a woman versus Dark Vision when she lived with her parents? In my opinion, she has. And I believe that her psychic ability had to change. And by book 9, when she got shot in the head in killing Sarah, I really wanted to make that change then. That's why I had the bullet hit her in the head. so that I could open a new door to her ability. So there you go. Hi, Amber. Haven't seen you in a long time. All the way back to grade 8. All right, next question. Lupe Garza. I hope I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. Do you choose an ending for a book, but aren't too happy about it, or do you have other endings in mind in case one doesn't work? That's a very good question. All of these are very good questions, but that's a good question. Okay, the answer is 90% of the time, yes, I choose an ending. I do know about the bad guy, where they're going to end up, if they're going to die, if they're not. I'd say 90% of the time, I know that Sarah's going to, I know often what Sarah's injury is even going to be, if she's going to be shot or stabbed or what happens to her, or if she gets out just a few bruises. So I do know that most of the time. You know what I do know? I'll tell you what I know. I know the beginning. I know a little bit of the middle. I know, like, if there's going to be a helicopter scene or something, I'm like, oh yeah, great. Like in The Cartel, in book 15, there was a helicopter scene over a pool. There was a couple of helicopter scenes in that book, and I really, really wanted to write a helicopter scene. So I knew in The Cartel that there would be this helicopter scene before I wrote book chapter 1. So there's certain things I do know that I want to play with. In The Unlucky, I knew I wanted Sarah at the top of the CN Tower. So I put Sarah at the top of the CN Tower in Toronto, and on the edge walk, I really wanted her to jump. And so first chapter, I mean, I really want, there's certain things I have to do that are thrilling, that scare me. I put Sarah into positions that I'm not very good with heights. Well, it's really not the height, it's the fall and that sudden stop at the end that I'm afraid of. So I just generally don't get up that high. Then anyway, so I do know the beginning, the middle, the end. I know what I'm going to do in the middle and so on and so on. So the ending I kind of know. Now I said 90% because in The Terror, I didn't know if the bad guy, that psycho brother guy at the end of The Terror in the Kelowna area, in his pickup, when Sarah was in the back of the pickup smashing the glass and fighting this guy, I didn't know if she'd kill him or not. I really didn't. And I didn't know until a day before I wrote the scene that what would happen. So, Annalisa Grant. Oh, you're wonderful. I like people like you. That's a great question. So next, Sherry Todd Bashore. Where do your ideas come from? Oh man, what a question, eh? Where do your ideas come from? Do you know where they come from? The world, the media, the press, reading the news. The very, very first idea I ever got for a novel was reading the Toronto Sun, a newspaper. Hey, Ryan, good to see you, man. Your question's coming up. You're 2 away. So, Bad Vibes, my first book. It's not published right now. I saw an image in a newspaper of a hospital room, and somebody was about to pass away, and there was this angel floating, looking at them, ready to take their body. And I went, oh, I've got an entire novel from that picture. And I wrote Bad Vibes. And I can often just sit and read the newspaper for a day or two and come up with 2 novel ideas. And it's not me. I mean, I know it's me because it's not John or Mike or Sam or Bob. It's Jonas. So I know it's me, but I almost feel that I'm inspired by what people are doing. And in some cases, crazy people. You know, people that collect body parts. And I can't even fathom where these guys get these ideas. And the Harvey Weinstein stuff. And what is going on with these crazy people? So I don't know. And don't sue me, Harvey. I'm not saying you're crazy. I don't know what's going on there. I'm just saying I read the news and then I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm going to put this in a novel. You guys are going to love this. I'm going to fictionalize it so nobody knows what's going down. And so that's where ideas come from. Does that help? Anyway. Teresa, got about 4 or 5 more questions, maybe 6. Teresa Wittinen, I'm saying that right. Would you ever consider a love interest for Parkman? Of course. That actually is in the plans. Will Darwin and Rosina be making any more appearances? Yes, more so Darwin. Darwin will always be around. It'll be every book, every other book, every third book, but Darwin will be around. Darwin's my hero. Rosina, not so much. I've been pulling away a little bit from the Italy scenes. Do you foresee more of a commitment for Aaron and Sarah engagement marriage? Absolutely. I'm going to get into that in a minute. There's another question coming about their future, and I'm going to get into that, so hold your thought on that one. And how did you decide which country to place the story? I actually don't decide that kind of stuff. The countries are, where they go is based on the predicament, based on the story arc, based on the villain, based on, for instance, book 14, I needed them to go to Amsterdam, Toronto, Athens, Greece. I needed them to go to these places because of the torture clubs that are situated in these places. I didn't take her to Moscow, but because there's a big torture club there, but I've never been there, and I've been to Athens, I've been to Greece, I've been to Amsterdam, I lived in Toronto, so I took them to where I go. I like to spend 90+% of the time taking my characters to places and cities I've been to, because then I can make it much more realistic. And no, Teresa, I will not base a story off of Harvey. So, hey, Lacey, how you doing? Hi, Anna. So, how did you decide what country? Yeah. So, next question, Ryan. Okay, this one's really cool. This one's going to be interesting to answer. Ryan Burdett is asking, how do you transfer back and forth between characters and their inner thoughts, the speech, and so on, inside your hero's thinking, no way, not going to happen, and then what you're saying is more guarded and polite, or I like this line. He says, it seems so seamless with your writing. Hey, thanks, Ryan. I'm interested to know your thoughts and ideas for budding writers. Okay, so this is a great question, because I like this one, because I had to talk about this one at the last writers conference. Kurt Vonnegut said one of his rules of writing is every character has to want something, even if it's a glass of water. So hey everybody, every character has to want something, even if it's a glass of water. I take that to the next step, then the next, then the next. So basically I call it character agenda. Character agenda. Now, say, I'm the bad guy. My agenda is to come in here and subdue, smash someone in the head. I don't know. Whatever the scene's gonna, I've got the knife hidden, I got the gloves on, no fingerprints, I got it all set up in my head. So when I'm writing that guy, I'm doing his character agenda. So he walks in, he's all stealth, and he walks behind. Character agenda. All his goals, I'm in his head. He's lurking, he's horrible, he's thinking terrible thoughts, etc., etc. Sarah Roberts say, I'm in her head now. I do a POV switch, point of view. I go into Sarah's head. Now, her mind is, she's heard a noise, her sister has told her to be at this place at this time, she's going to deal with this guy. I jump into her head, character agenda. She wants to stop the guy. So a fight ensues, they're holding each other, and that conversation comes up that you mentioned. No way, not going to happen, and so on. When he speaks, I jump into his agenda, and his agenda is to take Sarah right out, knock her out, kill her. It's going to happen. There's no way around it. It's not open for discussion. There are no other options but to take this girl out. This girl has a big mouth. I'm going to teach her a lesson, etc., etc. Now I'm in his head. Okay, let's go. And I turn on music when I write. If I'm writing the bad guy, I'll play to metal. I'll play Metallica or some thrash metal, and it's just, and the singer's like, and screaming, and I'm just sitting there typing the bad guy. Then I do it to Sarah, and we calm down for a second, and I get into Sarah's head. There's no way this guy's getting out. No way this guy's getting past me. If I let him by, he will get to that victim. He will kill her, whatever. So she thinks, I got to go for his knee, his groin. I got to throat punch this guy. So I'm in her head now, and I change my music. And so it's all character agenda to me. And I'm able to, what did you say again? Let me just repeat this. It seems so seamless with your writing. Oh, that was really nice of you. So anyway, it's seamless because character agenda. What do they want? And every character has to want something. By the way, every character has to want something. But your job as a writer is to not give it to them. Put up walls. Keep saying no. Say no, and let's see how hungry that character is. That's what I do. Next question. Marley says, what prompted you to write in a woman's voice? Where do you draw that from? This is one of the hardest questions to answer. I write in male voices often. Obviously, I have male characters. But as a lead character, like Drake Bellamy and The Threat, Aaron's a lead, and in the book called The Spectre. I have a lead male in Murder in Time. Murder in Time. I can't even say my own titles right. What's wrong with me? So, but Sarah, it's a very long answer, but I think I'll summarize and say that I really, how do I say this? Okay, I told you, it's a hard one. This is going to sound really weird, but I'm very pro-female. Very pro-female. Not that they're looking for sympathy or something, but I had a very difficult mother. And my entire life I've struggled with understanding the opposite sex, but not just as a partner in a relationship, but I mean as a woman, what they have to go through, what they deal with on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month, on a year-to-year basis. And, you know, they've got to have the babies. They've got to go through that. They have stretch marks. They're worried about themselves. They do the makeup. They get themselves all done up, and they're beautiful. And they just go through so much in their life. And I believe, guys are going to hit me for this, but I believe that women have it a bit harder than men. We can just walk around and be all tough and act up and smash into things and do whatever we want. And I don't know, women can do that too. I'm not being sexist. I'm not being chauvinist. I'm not being misogynist. I'm just saying, in my heart, I love women. And I wanted a woman to win. I love Wonder Woman. Those kinds of movies move me. I'm watching those scenes and I'm almost in tears. I love women. And I'm not being sexual, or I'm just telling you. If you know me and you've read my books, you read my afterwards, you know what I'm talking about. And Sarah wins. Yeah, sure, she's going to get beat up, stabbed, shot. I'll shoot her in the head. But Sarah wins. My theme in my novels is hope. The theme is hope. And I want every man and woman to read these books and be able to get through. I especially want women to know that this is it for me. In my heart, I want women to know that there can be a little piece of Sarah in that. You know what else I want them to do? I want you guys to stand up more often, and I really love what Sarah does. I love when Sarah cusses out a guy who thinks he can talk to her a certain way. I just can't understand. I have so much respect for women. It bothers. I can't even watch like a movie like Death Wish where there's a rape scene. I can't even watch those things. I know, and I write these things, but I can't watch it. You ever see a sex scene in my books? I don't write sex scenes. I do not ever want to hurt a woman. Now, listen, I know I hurt Sarah. That sounds ridiculous, but I mean truly wound. And so I make a hero as a female. I love that. In addition to that, Sarah is, a lot of people will read it and think she's, what's the word? I can't find the word now. Vulnerable. And she's female. And so they start reading and say, oh, this girl. Oh, I hope she's going to be okay. And then you see Sarah win. I just think that's such a great triumph. So that's my take on it. I really wanted to write it. Where do I draw from? I draw from women I've met, my wife, things people say, strong women. I watch movies with strong woman roles. I just, I draw from my feminine side. Sarah's really my ultimate woman, a very strong woman who would be kind and caring and cares for the weak, the young, wants to take care of people. But when you're disrespectful, you need to be taught. Because a bully will always be until someone steps up and says, hey! And then they're like, oh, I better watch it. I can't just run roughshod over anybody anymore because I could get hurt. Sarah does that. So, next question. Lacey, I have a couple more from Lacey. What are common traps for aspiring writers? Common traps. Well, here's one. Thinking too much. Just get the story on the page. Don't think. Don't try and edit. Don't worry about it. We've got editors for that. We have editors for that. Just write. Vomit on that white page and stop looking at sentence structure, grammar, punctuation. Don't worry about it. Get the story out. You know, when I wrote my first novel, I look back at some things, and when I was writing, I'm in the process. I got 20,000 words down. I start rereading it. I'm like, oh my goodness, does this make sense? Does this work? I don't know. I don't know. Gee, and then I get doubt. Then I start in my head. It's not good. Don't just write. Just get the story out. That would be my number one thing. Common trap for aspiring writers is they think about too much. Don't think too much. You're going to screw with the idea. You're going to wreck it. Just write. Get the story out. Once the whole story's done, reread it then. Send it off. Get a couple beta readers. Pay someone $200 to read it quickly and give you some pointers. Rewrite it. Take some time away. Read a couple books on how to write. Read a couple books on character tags, originality. Go back through. I rewrote my first 4 or 5 novels so many times, you have no idea. I rewrote Dark Visions over, 7 years? But I wrote the book. So don't think about it too much. Just think story and write the story. Lacey asked, what is your writing kryptonite? I do have a writing kryptonite. I have something. I write something. I have something that causes my writing to suffer. But I thought about that question for a few days. I asked my wife, I said, what stops me from writing? Because nothing really stops me from writing. I love writing way too much. I cannot wait. I have 4, 5, 6 novels in my head waiting to get out. If I had just enough time, I would have them all ready this week. But I don't have enough time. So what is my writing kryptonite? There's only one thing that I could think of, and that is stress. When I'm under stress, when I'm dealing with court, or because I have family law I've had to deal with in the past, when I'm dealing with the Canada Revenue Agency, dealing with my taxes or something. I get an email from an agent. We need to talk about, you're paying $20,000 in taxes, but it's supposed to be $30,000, and I'm taking the day off of writing. That's my kryptonite. I can't. I can manage stress. Oh, I'm fine. You know what? Screw it. When you read Sarah, you're reading a piece of me. I got a bad attitude and a bad mouth. But when I'm feeling the stress, I'd rather have a glass of wine than sit and write. It's really hard for me to write when I'm feeling the stress. If I'm feeling a lot of stress and it gets harder for 2 or 3 days, well, then I take measures to get rid of the stress because I have to write. So that's my writing kryptonite. All right, we're almost through this. Oh my, I've been 40 minutes. I'm sorry. No one's going to sit through 40 minutes. All right. Rachel said, how did you get started writing, Sarah? That's a long story, but I'll summarize. I studied a lot of religion years ago in the 90s, and was studying near-death experiences, Raymond Moody's Life After Life. I read Elizabeth Kubler-Ross On Death and Dying. I wasn't losing anybody in my life. I was just very interested in the topic. What's on the other side? So then I wanted to read about old souls, people on the other side, people who had died come back. Betty Eadie's book, and I could go down the list. So I was reading all these books, but people who died. I love near-death experience research and started putting a bunch of notes together and reading all this stuff and coming up with ideas. So anyway, I continued on to learn about psychics. What are they talking about the other side? And I was like, well, geez, I kind of don't really, a lot of what they're doing doesn't jive, doesn't work for me. I went to a psychic fair in 1998 in Pickering, Ontario, near Toronto, and it was really cool. That psychic fair and Dark Visions that Sarah walks into, the red bandana, the ball, all that stuff, that's taken right out of the one I walked into. Esmeralda, there was a woman in the psychic fair who did a reading for me, and she reminded me of Esmeralda. And she took my car keys. Some of you don't have to believe this. You don't have to believe any of this, but for me, was very moving. She took my car keys in 1998. She held them, and she sat there. And after about a minute of silence, she looked up and told me a few things about my life, and she was right. And she'd never met me. I walked in off the street. So that blew me away. She told me about my brother who had passed away. She almost named him. She told me about my future. She told me I wasn't writing books at the time, but in 1998, she said I would write books and I would become popular and I would travel the world touring with my books. She said that. I have a tape. She told me things that blew me away, and I have witnesses who heard this, and I've got the tape. So that was wow. That was wow. And so then I met Sylvia Browne. She's passed away recently, but Sylvia Browne was on Montel Williams a lot. And I went in 1999 or 2000, I forget the year, in the summer. I went to the Hershey Center in Toronto and bought tickets and saw Sylvia, and she blew me away too. She told, it was mind blowing. So I came up with the idea in 2002 about false prophets, about fake psychics, and that's where the Dolan and Alex Stewart and all that stuff came in, where they were making money off of kidnapping girls and saying, oh, wait a sec, I know where the girl is. Oh, she's over there. And then the cops show up and they make money. I'm like, these guys are fake. I'm going to write a book about these guys, and I'm going to have a real psychic named Sarah Roberts who's going to kick their ass. So there we go. Oh, I just said the word ass. So I swore. Sorry. So anyway, that's where it came from. And if you had to pick, I have to ask you to answer this question. If you had to pick an actress for Sarah, who would it be? I've got a couple in my head, but let me just say, I think she's already picked. I think I'm allowed to say something like that, but I'm not saying I can't say any more. So, next. Is The Future is Written Rewrites of Dark Visions? Yes, The Future is written. The first part one is Dark Visions. Part 2 is The Warning. Part 3 is The Crypt. This is the first 3 books. So a couple more questions. Zanya Miller has asked those questions. Sorry. Zanya Miller says, are any of your books going to become movies or series on television? And the answer is, as far as I know, yes. But I can't talk more about that yet. I can say that they're optioned. So there are studios looking at it. But I can't talk about contracts, paperwork, what's signed, who hasn't signed, if anything's signed, or if I have an announcement coming soon or not. Cannot talk about that. But all I can say is they're optioned. But I have good news coming. I can say that, I think. A couple more. Marina Diner says, Jonas, how do you decide that it's time to kill off a good character like Esmeralda or Dolan or so on? And do you feel sad parting with that character? I always feel sad getting rid of a good character. Let's qualify that, though. Good character. In any given book, book 5, book 7, but whatever, in any book, there's going to be just average characters, people that just come on, bad guy, good guy, whatever, and they may pass away. And I don't so feel they're props really in the story, because you're going to have the story, you're going to have these props. I don't so feel. I mean, these things need to happen, but someone like Esmeralda, yes, of course, and it's really hard, and it's actually so hard that's why in book 5, when it was alluded to Drake Bellamy being found in the Don Mills River and passed away, and then you see him again in book 14. Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry. All I'm saying is you're going to see this character again. I spent almost 10 books without him, and I needed to bring him back. And then something else happens, and so yeah, it's tough. It's tough to let go of them. There's been a couple of times where I'm not ashamed to admit it, that I was bawling when I was writing someone passing, certain people passing, and I had to stop typing to clear my eyes. I couldn't see the keyboard. Now I don't generally look at the keyboard, but I have to accurately type, or it would be too jumbled. So it's really hard. How much coffee do you drink in a day? Well, I have a couple in the morning. Fun question. I thought I'd answer it. I have a couple in the morning and get to work, and I always have 1 or 2 in the afternoon. You saw me having my afternoon one. Last question. How did you decide to write about a young woman with trichotillomania? Trichotillomania, I with writing, I want to make something. I want my characters, I mentioned earlier, have a character tag, have something unique about them, something original. And the Dark Visions was written completely without Trichotillomania, the first batch of drafts. And if you recall, I mentioned in another podcast that I had read about Trichotillomania, and I thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to have my character be a puller. I didn't want cliche. Cliche would be something very common, like a cutter or whatever. So Trichotillomania wasn't very known. Well, it's known, but it's not as known. So I wanted to give my character something unique. And I believe that the more unique your story can be, well, you don't want it too unique, then it's weird. But I just really wanted to give Sarah something that has a struggle, something else she needs to deal with. But you know, it turned out to be really, really good and really a lot of fun, because it gave her something else to evolve with, and it gave her into book 2 where she's not doing it. It's 4 years later, she's not doing it anymore. And when someone grabs her hair, she's like, oh, that feels great. She hasn't felt it in so long. So it was really a lot of fun to play with that. And so anyway, my goal is to make things unique and fun. This is part 2 of Adrian Liness's question. You have seamlessly incorporated the Aaron and Sarah love story into a thrilling lifestyle, but can Aaron and Sarah realistically last? In my opinion, yes. Does Sarah really want to take a break and settle down? Yes, but I can't let her. But that's part of the conflict. You got to have internal, external conflict in a story. Causes tension, increases pace. I mean, all these things are a bit of an art form when you're writing this kind of art. And I believe in tension. If you've read my work, I think there's some tension in some of my books. I believe in a lot of tension, and tension comes from conflict, and I really like internal conflict. Simple things like Sarah's tied, and she wants to pull some hair because she's got trichotillomania, but she can't reach it. That just sitting there, not able to pull to comfort herself, is, to me, massive tension. So, tension, conflict. Does Sarah want to take a break? Sure she does. She's yearning. She wants to just domestic bliss for a while. But the conflict is, I can't give that to her. So, hey, Timothy. Lastly, do you already have ideas on Sarah, how her story ends? Yes, I do. And many, many books in the future. And that's the end of the questions I have on this paper that were on my wall. Yes, I have an end for Sarah. Yes, I have an end all the way to the end. And I have a way that I'm going to say goodbye to Sarah. But it's quite a few books from now. I don't know that number. Could be 5, could be 10, could be 20. I'd like to go to 40, 50. But I just don't know the future because it hasn't been written yet. So, all right, I won't use play on words for my own titles. Otherwise, we'll be talking about a hostage and a victim and killing Sarah and then losing Sarah, and some cartel gets involved, and it would be just silly. So anyway, I do have visions for Sarah. I have a vision of Sarah being married one day, and that's coming. I have a vision of Sarah being pregnant, and Sarah has a daughter. That's coming. It's not a spoiler alert. Stop it. Sarah's going to have a daughter, a baby girl. I don't know her name yet, but Sarah's baby girl has more power than Sarah. Sarah's baby girl has telekinesis. And Sarah learns of it when her daughter is very young. Hi, Brandy. So there is a lot of fun with Sarah's daughter and what's going on there. All right, last thing. We're almost at an hour. Oh my goodness, how the time flies. So, book. I'm going to sign this and send it to you guys. Go on my wall, send it to my wall, my messenger, Facebook. Somebody tell me what you want me to do in Facebook Live and keep it clean. But somebody tell me what you wanted me to do Facebook Live, and I will pick one that I'm willing to do, that I want to do, that I'm excited about. Make it so exciting, and I'll do it. And then I will pick that person, and I will send this to them. I'll put some business cards in it and so on. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a little secret. I collect bookmarks. So I've got a whole pile of these. I've got a whole pile from Mad Hatter Bookstore in West Kelowna. I've even got a bookmark with my daughter on it. I'm a major bookmark guy. I've got bookmarks from Rome, with the Fontaine de Trevi. And I've got other ones, and you know, you rip them off, and I'm a bookmark collector. For years, I've been collecting bookmarks since I was reading, since I was 12. W.H. Smith used to have a bookstore in Calgary that I used to always go to when I lived in Calgary in 1981, 82, 83, Calgary, Alberta, up here in Canada. And they used to have the best bookmarks. I used to get so many. And the reason I collect bookmarks, and Brandy, you might know about bookmarks, and KJ, you might know about bookmarks. I think you've got some. The reason I collect bookmarks, here's the secret, is because I never, ever use a bookmark twice. I open up a new book, I put a bookmark in it. When I'm done that book, I recycle that bookmark. It's just my thing. It's a tick. I don't know what it is. I'm a bookmark crazy man, and I never reuse a bookmark. Oh, wait, that's partly a lie. The one with my daughter on it, I've had this since 2003. Let me just double check. 2002. It even has a date on it. 2002. And I have had it since 2002, and I have reused that one. So there's going to be, 2% of the time when I reuse one. So there you go. That's it. I think that's it. I'm done all the questions. Coffee's done. I got to get back to my manuscript. I've got writing. I've got things to edit. I'm a busy Jonas Saul over here. My goodness, I cannot believe we've gone an hour. Man, does time fly. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed it. I don't think anyone's going to sit through this whole thing for an hour. Thanks, Ryan. So happy to see so many people. It's great. A lot of fun. Hope you like the new haircut. Did I just say that out loud again? I love the haircut. I don't like that. I was pulling my hair. Anyway, it's okay. So great. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to leave this on my wall. Thanks, Teresa. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. Thank you for spending the time with me. I appreciate it. Marina, you guys are great. What would I do without you? What would I do without you? So, always leave the bookmark in the book I'm reading. That's great, Brenda. Thank you for the live feeds, Jonas. Give me some ideas, people. I'm going to send you a book. And I'll tell you something. If you guys impress me and come up with massive ideas and 4 or 5 or 6, I might send out a couple books. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. But right now I'm committing to 1. So thank you so much, all of you wonderful, wonderful readers. I could just reach through and squeeze you all. Now, get caught reading. Enjoy the rest of your day. Jonas Saul out.